everyone? Is everyone ready to finally get this thing working? I know I am. So, yeah. But, some things have changed since the last stream. Well, one thing has changed. I have a working filament sensor. Isn't that exciting? So yeah, I have a working filament sensor. I'm trying. What I want to do, and I don't know how I can do it. I'm gonna have to look it up, but we're gonna do this today. Is I'm going to set something up. Oh yeah, it's homed. I'm trying to move it up. So that when this thing does detect filament, it'll change the color of a light. When it doesn't detect filament, so as that value of that pin changes, I want to toggle that light. I don't know how to do that. It might be a thing. It might not be a thing. That might not even be possible. It must be possible. Okay, so yeah, this was not an easy feat getting that that working. I'm going to tell you that. So I had to completely model my own version of the Afterburner 2 body in order to, well, not completely model from scratch, obviously, but I can't do that. In order to get it right. But I'm running into some things here, such as this doesn't want to go straight in. It only wants to go in crooked. That's fine. That's just fine. So yeah, I think it's time to pop open the instructions, go to the configuration step, and run through and see how that works. Right now, I'm not even going to talk about that. So yeah, this is my setup for multicolor or multi-material right now. That's only a piece of a wire sleeve. I thought I had something dropped on the floor. So I've got the tower of filament. Right now it's on a bunch of boxes of filament. Filament supports filament. Because all of these lines were cut to fit with the other switch wire with this on top, which is only about this high. Yeah, it's only about, yeah, that high. So these don't reach. So that's a problem. That's a problem I had. So right now, let's see, what do we want to do? Let's crack open some Red Bull. That's a good start. And let's crack open the instructions, because, you know, yeah. Streamer mode is enabled. Stay safe. Okay. I don't know how this is gonna work, but I have a button. It is working. Awesome. Looks awfully dark though. Ta-da! Not so dark anymore. Okay, I need to look at... Hey, Zex Eltor. Welcome back. Okay, so here we go. This is what we're looking at here. It says empty. Sorry, it's empty. It's empty. I'm gonna get some filament. So here's some filament. I'm gonna feed that some filament. Oh, I guess I'll have to open the latch. Pass the latch. Detected. Empty. You can't see me pulling this in and out because I'm not smart enough to set up something with the table as well as this. One day I'll figure it all out. So there we go. Right now we've got a, sorry, push that in all the way. It says detected. Pull it out. It says empty. Yay. Yay. That took way too much time. I'm going to tell you that. That took, well, let me show you. Does this sort of like give you an idea? These are the multiple versions that I've gone through. 2 of them are mine, 1 of them is somebody else's. There we go. That's what's going on. Hey, Bert. Welcome back. Yeah, so yeah, that took some iterations, it took some versions. I think it works flawlessly at this point. I am going to probably upload that to the GitHub unless a real version comes out. I did have lots of problems. Like basically the idea was to go in and take the one that was there and just make some adjustments to it and make it work. Turns out that was not possible. It wasn't, it wouldn't work in the software. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get that up soon. Like, probably once we get through the configuration here tonight, and I'm confident that it's functioning the way it needs to. Up it goes. So yeah, there we go. Now, we have a Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder that needs to be tamed completely this time. Not just to the point where we know it works and everything's all functional. Like, I don't even have filament here. So let's pop open that manual. Or I'll try to find the manual here. Try to find the manual. I'll open the manual. I know exactly where it is. I'm not trying to find the manual. Documentation. ERCF manual. Oh. So, here we go. That looks like this is where it begins. So, once the ERCF is properly installed and the printer toolhead sensor installed and working, we can perform the very last calibration. This is not where it begins. Well, you know, if you're running with a bed mesh and... See, the funny thing I find with the bed mesh thing, they're like, oh yeah, we'll correct for it, and within the first 10 layers, it'll be correct. And in my mind, I'm like, well, no. If the bed's like that, just print like that. Don't you know, just print straight off the surface of the bed. But yeah, I guess maybe that's for variations. Okay, so that's not the right configuration. Here's the right configuration here. Upload the software, we've already done that. Is it connected? It's connected. Copied the files. Extruder parameters. Extruder, max extrude only distance. And max cross section. Okay, so we're going to need to split our view here. Really? There we go. Okay. I don't know where these things are. I'm gonna guess that they're right, because the configuration was basically taken from a printer that had the Enraged Carrot Feeder on it, plopped onto here, and yeah. Hey, Happy. Welcome to the stream. So I think under extruder, I should find these settings. Oh, yeah, they're the first two settings. I was looking at the bottom. So everything's there. Close that off. The motors are configured. Define end of Bowden to sensor. Okay, again. This should be right. I'm not going to change this. Servo angles. Okay, so this is going to be the first place I keep on turning to the other camera. This is going to be the first place we're going to run into some things that are different. Maybe this camera needs to be turned too. There we go. So, what do I want to look at here? I want to look at the user config. And I have the servo angles at 30. And 130 for the down, because I found if it went to 140, it would bounce back to 130 anyway. So, yeah. I don't think that's going to change, so we're just going to pretend that's fine. And the other one, reverse Bowden length. The length of the reverse Bowden tube to set up. This is the PTFE tube that goes from the ERCF to your printer's tool head. Variable mid Bowden length. 520. Now, this is not going to be right, is it? That's the old printer, so I need a new Bowden tube. So time to bring out the Bowden tube bucket, and I've got, you know, an unbelievable amount of tubing. But there's a caveat to this tube specifically, and it needs to be a wider diameter. So what this is it has a 3mm opening here rather than 2mm. So it's a little bit bigger. See the bigger hole? Yeah, it won't focus. Yeah, well, actually it will. I don't know. On with more important things. So yeah, basically I'm going to cut a piece of tubing to fit between here and here with, it doesn't really need a ton of space. Like, I can cut that here and be pretty sure that's going to be good. I'm not gonna have a bunch of extra lying around or hanging off this thing. So now that that's there, let's measure this and try to get this annoying curve out of it. The one thing I do find about this type of PTFE tubing is it's very squishable and kinkable. So again, this is going to be much longer because it's a much taller printer, and I am measuring 520? $515mm. Now, mine already says 520. So, yeah, maybe that Bowden tube is somewhere else and it's not the one I think it is. So we're going to take a few centimeters off it. It does say a few, right? Reverse Bowden tube is set at PFT. So what it says is get a rough measurement of this tube length and subtract it. I wish there was a way to increase the text size of PDF without zooming in. Yeah, whatever. Subtract a few centimeters, typically 5. So if it was 520 or 515, whatever it may have been, let's go with 570, 470, you know, math. And that should be enough for that. Next, pin definitions. Everything's all configured. We're not going to worry about any pin definitions. Macros are already set up. And macros have an underscore in front to hide them when they don't want to mess with the whole display. So some of these things might have underscores in front of them, some of them might not. So let's get back to the save and restart. Okay, here we go. I don't have any filament there yet. we don't need to buzz anything here. I can home the Enraged Carrot Feeder just fine. Worked beautifully, didn't complain. Yet. Yet. What rack and tensioner? Oh, it's those are the carrot patch. That's the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Patch. They're it's not exactly like the, well, it is the standard Enraged Rabbit Carrot Patch, but I built this rack where I can flip the whole assembly out and basically put a new roll on and just flip it back in after, you know, creating the windings and stuff like that. So that's helped a bit. The other thing I'm finding is that you know, they tell you to measure a 30 centimeter piece of Bowden tube for the carrot feeders. That's wrong. That's got to be wrong. Because all that does at 30 centimeters is create a kink and bow at the end. It should be, I'm guessing, probably around 25 centimeters, maybe 20, no, 25. And it would just be a nice curve, but it's a curve and a bump at the bottom the way it's set up right now. And they're all slightly problematic because of that. But whatever. That's fine. We'll make do. I have already, yeah. Okay, so query end stops, that's fine. If I want to query my end stops, I can just go check out my machine page. I don't know why this is here. This does not make, yeah. This should be on the dashboard. Whatever. Manual stepper, gear stepper triggered. Okay. So let's check the servo. So it has a 180-degree range. So it needs to be installed at the right position. Okay, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for the support. Okay, so if we take a look at this right now, whoa, I keep on forgetting this is on a computer that's too far away from it. I don't know if you can see it, but you can, yeah, you can. The arm right here, it's at an angle. It's at its minimum. So basically this can move back and forth without it interfering with all the points that it presses down on to get filament through, or to pinch filament to push it through. So what I want to do is we want to push that up and see what happens here. So let's go to the console. And it says release filament. Okay, so I added some feedback Okay, so that's up. And that's what it wanted me to do. And it is already in the up position, so that servo can't go up any further. And it says install the servo arm now. So we don't need to do that. That's installed. And this step is complete. Now we need to test the angle. So basically what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get the arm to move so that it sits where it's supposed to sit. And in order to do that, we actually do a test angle and we provide the actual angle here. So what we're going to say is 130, malformed command. I didn't even notice that there. But yeah, I guess I do have that selected. 130. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing. Okay, so with angle being so is it not working? It did something there. Uh-oh. We got a problem. We got a problem. Shut her down. I just pulled the wire out. So, need to fix broken wire. Let's do that first. In order to do that, I'm going to need crimping tools, wire stripper. I don't know if I need a wire stripper. I don't know if this is going as well as I expected. I didn't expect this to happen though, but this thing probably got hit up against something at some point. And I noticed that or caught on something, and I noticed that the servo wire and one of the wires for the filament motor is broken. I guess I'm going to be working from this side. Wow, that's a very bright image. So yeah, basically that's broken and that one's broken. This is what I get for using cheap wires. Oh, and the other thing is, this is also from before the good crimper. So these could just be bad crimps. Of course, the worst thing about this is the crimps are still in there, and I need to get those out too, without wrecking everything else. Which is going to be kind of tough with it all connected up there, even with the tools that I've got hidden somewhere. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't have to take them out nicely. There we go. There we go. I showed them. Well, I guess I did show them, but after they showed me. These are all the tools that I bought to do the wiring. Because when I built my PC, I built the wiring. Like put sleeves over everything and stuff like that. So that stuff's come in really handy since I started working on 3D printers. I thought it was going to be like a one-time purchase that I'd never use ever again, but I use it all the time. There's one. I want to twist this. That should be two. I say should be. Yeah, it is. I got it right. Okay, so that servo should probably work now. Let's fire this thing back up. Now that it's that much closer to being done right. Oh well, you know. I do need a full cover on that. And you know what? It's good timing. Because I have been, well, I've taken, I don't know, 3 lessons now on CAD. Or using Onshape to make, well, whatever I want. Where using Blender is not always the best, yeah, it's not always the best. Even though at this point I've become pretty good at it, it doesn't allow you to go back and make changes, like, you know, change the size of screw holes and stuff like that without a lot of work. Are we back? Okay. Printer is not ready. Clippy software. What's going on? Why am I on the history page? I want this. Not ready. Well, it's providing power to things. Things are plugged in. Restart firmware? Okay. Could not open port. No such file or directory. That's not good. But I can see there's no light. It's like there's no power or something. It's like somehow during all this, though nothing was moved, somehow something is different, and I can't quite figure out what it is and how it happened. Yeah. The USB plug is literally been unplugged from the board. So yeah, no power, no light, no go. Oh, that's where that bolt went. Well, that's going to be hard to get to. Okay, we'll worry about that later. Maybe I can just turn it over and shake it a little. Because that's a good thing to do to a printer. So I think this just dawned on me the other day. I think that on my V0, I have the power from the switch and the power to the switch swapped. So the light's on all the time on the switch, not just when I turn the power on. I think that it just dawned on me the other day, and I'm thinking like, why is that switch different than every other switch? As soon as I plug it in, the light's on. I think that's it. I think somehow I've reversed the power to the switch and the power coming from the switch, so that when I turn it on, what happens is actually the light dims slightly. So I'm almost positive that's a thing. Okay, let me see here. What do we have? That's not the right screen. Printer is not ready. Printer is not ready. Why not ready this time? Restart firmware. Okay. Clippy dog. Okay, so it can't find that device for some reason. Okay, it still can't find it. Yeah, it's not there. It's not listed. Let me try another USB plug on the Raspberry or on the Pi and see if that works. And it does. Why is that a thing? Why is it on one and not the other? Why? 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 Ah! Okay, so let's see if it restarts. No. We're attempting to connect, it says. Input output error. Oh, don't, why are you doing that? Those are things that's not what's going on here. It's there. Power off. We'll wait, we'll wait, we'll wait. Power on. Close all the clipper logs. Okay, here we go. No, not here we go. We're not going anywhere. God, you'd think if you were to type in power enough, and every time you do, you choose PowerShell, instead of power coming up first, PowerShell would come up first. So, you know, you could keep that little bit of sanity you had left. I gotta look at the right camera. Sorry. See, yeah. Okay. And it's not there. It is not there. It does not exist anymore. What is going on? I know I need to get a shorter USB cord. That I know. I've disconnected the servo. Okay, well, this might be coming to a screaming halt really fast. We'll find something else to do for a bit. Like, really, what's going on? There's no reason for any of this to be happening. It's obviously loaded something. When I plug it in, I can see a light flashing on the Pi. Maybe there shouldn't be a light flashing on the Pi. I don't know. When I plugged it in, the Pi restarted completely. What? And I got disconnected from there it is. And it's done. It's dead. That's basically what's going on. Is the board seems to be dead. Which has happened somewhere between me shutting it off earlier and when we turned it on without the USB plugged in. This is fun. Now it's completely disconnected again. Oh my God, what is going on? Why is this not working? It's still there. It's still there. But I can't connect to it. Why? The log input-output error. The log says input-output error. Turn it off for 5 minutes. Sure, let's give it a shot. It is down. That's off. So it's got no power. I already got coffee. Yeah. So, I knew this was going to be interesting, because it always is. It was every time I've messed with this. It's been like the first time. So you see the first two videos of my Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder series. They're pretty old videos. I think they're my second oldest series. My first one was the 2.4 build. But it never worked. It never worked at all, period. Because the board I got had a dead processor on it. It didn't do anything. You plugged it in, nothing. No light, no power, nothing. Right out of the box. No bootloader. No, like even when you plugged it into the PC, it wouldn't install anything. So yeah. Coffee and Red Bull. See, the caffeine doesn't do anything to me anymore. The only reason Red Bull does anything is the taurine. But yeah, I think I don't know. There's something about that. What is it? That chip, Speeduino or whatever it's called. It's flaky. It's very easily damaged. Of course, I could have a bad USB cable. Maybe it doesn't like this long USB cable. I'm not sure. But I do know now it's not these things being plugged in. I just rewired. I'm at this point, I'm this close to just reflashing the firmware to see if that helps. But it really does seem like a connectivity issue, nothing that would actually solve. I guess. No, can't do that. Oh, that's what that was. Oh. Okay. I was gonna say I could plug this in, but no, that's Raspberry Pi power. So yeah, I don't even have another reasonable length USB-C cable that I can use. Yeah, that's not USB-C. Okay, well. G Fuel. See, there's something about artificial flavors that I just that I don't like. And I think G Fuel, like this has sugar in it. The Red Bull has sugar, so there's quite a bit of sugar in it too. More than I should, yeah. Okay, so there we go. We're booting up. Let's see what we got. It's not there yet. Oh, it is. So it's not there. Hey, Duff. Oh yeah, Monster's good too. I don't drink that much Red Bull. Like on a Monday night. Well, it's not Monday really. It's like Sunday because today was a holiday. And I'm gonna do a stream, and I've been up since 8 in the morning. Yeah, I'll have one then. The battle was going great. It was going great. Now we can't seem to communicate with the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder. Yeah, SKR Pico's starting to sound like a better idea. Let me see. What do I got? Do I have no, that cable's like way too short. So is that. So basically I need a reasonably sized USB-C cable. Well, that one's like way too short. Oh. I got USB-C to USB-C. I've got basically I'm looking through a drawer full of USB cables. Oh, that might be the one. So that looks like about the right length. Yeah, Clipper's scary at first, but it's not scary because of the configuration. It's scary because you have to, you know, compile for the right board and doing all that stuff. But once you've done it once, it becomes pretty straightforward. You know, there's certain boards that are a pain. Like I'm gonna say that the board on the Easy board is a pain. You have to short out two little tiny itty bitty dots on a board in order to get it to go into boot mode. Okay, so it can see it now. Unable to connect to ERCF. Host. Yes. Okay, awesome. So what we're looking at here is basically a USB-C cable that's too long. If I would have known I had the shorter one, I would have installed it at first. This thing's not good. I don't know why it's not good. Maybe there's some interference, maybe there's something like that, but it didn't do too well. So here we go. We're back here and we are on this test here. Changing the servo. So that's servo down. And yeah, it did exactly what that picture shows. So right now, the servo's in that position, pushing that the number one tool head down. Lifted the servo up, and it did as it was told. Yay! Okay, insert a small PTFE tube, like 5 centimeters or so, in the selector cart. And turn the motors off. Okay, so ERCF motors off, and I need to find some filament. See what we can do there. A 5 centimeter piece of filament. It's not 5 centimeters. It's also very narrow. I'm just going to cut a piece off the old one. Oh, wait a minute. That's dumb. I have a little one here. So we're basically putting this in here. And the only reason for this is because if you don't, what happens when you're feeding the filament through, it gets caught. Okay, so we'll shut the motor off. Then, by hand, move the selector in front of a tool. You can start from the first tool, for example. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start, like I can move this now. Let's see if we can get a better view here. Alexa, turn off the streaming bulbs. Oh, there we go. We don't have a light blinding us. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to okay, so this does not want to go in. Okay, I get it. Okay. There we go. It has to be lined up properly. So that's the first one lined up. I should be able to push filament in. And, well, not like it has to go in this way, but it should fit through. It didn't. But like I said, not like it's supposed to go in that way anyway. So yeah, that seems right. It seems like it's in the right place. So what we do now is while that's in there, we execute a command that's basically going to tell us what's it going to tell us? The position okay, ear calib selector. Okay, no, I gotta remove this. What it's going to do when I execute this command, the ERCF calib selector tool 0, is it's going to do a measurement of how long it takes to get to home. And it's 1.9. if I go into the printer configuration, we've got this. Tool position for the selector. It's telling me that the first one isn't 2.3, it's 1.9. It's basically what it just told me. So now we're going to go through and do the same thing for tool 1. There's a fly in here. Turn the motor off. We want to load up some filament into tool 2 or tool 1. And we need to feed the cart, sort of center it on that so we've got it nice and smooth. And then we want to run the calib tool on tool 1. And that's at 22.4. So I'm going to go over here. It's at 22.4. It already says 22.4. You see that? It says 22.4. 22.4. Oh, yes. Okay. We're going to turn the motors off. And we're going to move on to tool head, the third tool, which is number 2. Again, get that moving through so that it's nice and smooth. And then back in here, we'll run your CF calib selector tool 2. And that's at 44. Guess what? Guess what? Look at this. 44. It's like magic. It's like magic. It's like somebody's already done this. Let's shut the motors off. Now we're moving to 3. Or, yeah, 3. The fourth one, which is 3. Again, same thing. Get everything moving properly. Make sure that's sort of in the middle of that. Make sure it feeds really easy. It's going to feed easier with proper tips on these, but hey, we don't need that quite yet. And that's tool 3. 69.6. We have 69.6. Whoops. Not what I want. Okay, so the next one is tool head number 4. Or tool ID 4. I don't know, it's not number 4, but it's numbered 4. Does that make any sense? And again, I just end up like bringing this over to number 4 roughly. Then I feed this in here, and I might have to wiggle it back and forth. And then the whole world shakes. And I get somewhat in the middle, so there's nothing interfering with it. And that seems to be it about there. Take that out. Double check, number 4. 90.4, okay. So we're gonna change this to 90.4. Now I don't know if this is doing a save and configure thing as we're going, but we're gonna we'll manually save it, we'll manually do that. Okay, number 5. Make sure that's sort of roughly in the middle of where that would go. That feeds very well. Let's see where 5 goes. 112. Okay, so number 6. There we go. Yeah, that's it. Tool head position for number 6 is 136.8. Some of these are seeming kind of weird to me. Why does this not have a horizontal scroll bar? So here we go. 136.8. And on number 7, what do we get on number 7? That seems pretty good. Whoops. On number 7, we've got a 159.2. And let's see what we get on the last tool head. Okay, that seems right. So tool head number 8 returns with 180, and that's what's in the array. Now, the one I'm concerned with is this 112. Let's go back to tool head number 6, because that seemed to be off in the other direction. Okay, so what do we get? 138.4. What? What? Oh. Okay, so it was 5. It was 5. That seems good. Okay, that seems a bit better. Where does 5 leave us? 111.2. That looks better. $111.2. Okay, so this is 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Save and restart. See the next page before doing anything else. Oh no. So we've got all of them encoded. So now, while the selector is in front of a tool, push some filament through it, and look at the selector front while you move the filament. The encoder light should blink, making the eyes in the red rabbit making the eyes of the rabbit red. Well, the eyes of the rabbit are red. Okay, I get it. I don't get it. Sometimes, yeah, if you move it really slow, it blinks. But it's almost like, depending on where it stops and starts, yeah, it stays red or not. So that's blinking. Moving it fast will just make the LED appear red. It's just blinking really fast. Okay, so we're gonna do a oh, I guess I should just go to the console because we can see more of that. We're gonna do an ERCF display encoder position. So first I'm going to load some filament in number 1. And the position is 2803 point blah 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 blah. Now we're gonna go and we're gonna ask it again, and it's gonna go 2864.95, and then we're gonna go and then we're gonna go ask it again. It's gonna go 2996.28. I'm gonna say that it definitely knows something's happening. Now if we pull it all the way back, it's gonna go 3, 4 because it has no sense of direction. It has no sense of direction. Now, right off here, I'm gonna say getting this working originally was a nightmare, because this isn't my first time trying to get that encoder working. What it ended up being was the actual gear that it is using as the encoder just didn't reflect right. It was rough, and because it's using a reflection of gear wheels with light, it basically just didn't reflect. So what happened was when you pulled the thing through the encoder, it would get very small amounts of movements, if any. So I made adjustments to it. I adjusted the height away from the gear and everything like that. What I ended up doing was basically getting rid of the gear that came with the kit and putting a BMG gear in it. And boom, it just started working. And I found it unbelievably accurate once it was working. So sorry for not talking to the camera or not changing to the right camera, but hey, I screw up things all the time. Okay, so here we go. We're back into this. You can't know the direction. Make sure that the BMG gear can rotate properly. There's no issue here. We're good. Checking the grip. Okay, so now we got to check the grip. ERCF motor's off. and put the selector in front of the first tool, push some filament through it. Hey, we're already there. And do the test grip. This will engage the servo and turn the motors off. Now gently pull the filament. If the grip is good enough, this will make the motor gear turn. Otherwise, it'll just slip. Okay, so what we want to do here is pull it through. And obviously it's working. And then we can do an ERCF motor up or servo up. And that'll release that filament. So if this would have slipped, our solution would have been to take this hat off the top of it and put a thicker one on. And right now we're on a number 2 on that. So I did have to put a thicker one. They're all thicker. I'll tell you that right now. But again, that's going to depend on your print settings and everything. Okay, so we need to go to tool 2. And basically we're going to do a test grip again. And we're going to just step through each one to make sure that it grips it, and that grips it just fine. Move to 3 or to 2. Move to the third one. And then we'll do the same thing. ERCF test grip. That's basically all I'm doing here. Locks it down. Yeah, there's no slippage there. Servo up. Okay. Testing grip on number 3. There we go, number 3 works. Well. Lift the servo. Now we're on to the 5th tool, tool number 4. And ERCF test grip again. And once again, we'll pull this. And yeah, there's no problem with grip there. And it's not like my big thing before was, hey, every single thing I do, it took me a while to get it where it was gripping nice and not completely crushing the filament. That was also very important. You don't want to crush your filament because then you change the shape of it, and when you go to shoving it through a hot end, it's not the right shape anymore. It's not round, it's an oval. And you know, where the sides went in, the other sides were pushed out. So that's a real problem. And it definitely causes problems down in the tool head if that's not good. So, on to number 5. Test the grip. And yeah, number 5, test grip, good. Servo up. We're on to the 6th one. 9 is too many, by the way. Like, this is really a nightmare to configure. It took me literally days the first time. This is not something you want to attempt to do 9 on a live stream in front of people. You don't. And you don't. Okay. That one works. Number 7. Again, same thing. Oh. Servo up. Number 7. Test grip. Okay, so the first thing we want to make sure is, did our servo go down? Number 7 might be a problem. And we'll go on to number 8. And test grip. I found something to fix. So number 7 and number 8 are a problem. Whoops. As you can tell, I shouldn't be able to move that across them like that. So what do I need to do here is flip down the backs. And pop the top hats off. Okay, well, I don't understand. One's a 5 and one's a 4. Almost everything else is a 3. Why are these 5s and 4s? It is kind of weird, actually. Okay. I might have to print the double. There's thicker ones, eh? But I never print it because why would you? I was going to say, it doesn't even want to go over that anymore. Okay, there's 7 again. And I pulled it all the way through myself, so let's try that. That's not my test filament, but it'll do. Okay, grip. How is that even a thing? I don't understand how that's even possible. I can actually even see the whole end just drop down. Like I fed that through there. Like it wasn't there. How is that? How is that a thing? Okay, servo up. We'll move this out of the way. Well, we won't move it all the way out of the way. We'll move it there in the way. We'll get this. There we go. Okay, what's going on? When I push that down with my finger, just lightly, like it's gripping something. Same with 8. No different than 6. So here's 6 again. So I'm gonna lock it up with grip. And that works just fine. Release it. And it doesn't want to slide onto 7 very easily. You know, it does when it's doing it slowly, but when I'm pushing it manually, there seems to be some resistance. I don't understand. I don't get it at all. I don't understand. Like it is so unbelievably loose. It's like it's not even there. Like there's nothing there stopping it at all. Why is that? How is that? Are they too thick and the servo's bouncing back? Maybe that's what's happening. But I can't see it. I guess I can see it. No, server's not bouncing up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna reprint those hats, or not the hats, but the beholder thing above it. So for now, in order to get by that, because we have to get by that, we're gonna go into our machine and our user config. And I'm just going to end this array of numbers here, hashtag in front of there, and that should give us our full array. And I will have to figure out why those ones are so weird, because that is weird. That is totally weird. Okay, so now we want to do a home. Let's take that out of there. And let's do a ERCF home. There we go. Home, done. Yay! Okay, so we're now ready to calibrate. So what the servo pushes on top of they call it a top hat or a hat. There's actually a combination of pieces here. So this is the hat or the top piece and So this is the top piece. This is what sits above each piece. And it fits in a little groove and it holds it there, and it only allows it to move so much. There's a magnet there, and in the top of that there's a magnet that opposes it. So when nothing's pushing it down, it pushes it away. So it pushes it up when it's not pushing it down. Now, these come in different thicknesses. Like I've got just dozens of these printed. Like that's a 1 thickness. There's one little dot. And then, you know, you can tell that's a 4. So it's got little marks on them like dice, like a die. There's a 1. So they're thicker or thinner. So that defines how much pressure gets pushed down on these. Now there's a number of things that could be going on here, and there's a couple of reasons I don't want to work on fixing it right now. One is because I don't know whether this is a problem with the primary piece, this piece. Like this main piece, or if it's a problem how did I do that? Now of course I can't find one with a 5 on it. I might just have to go and pick that one up I dropped on the floor. So yeah, that's basically how these are configured. Now we were talking on the Discord, a couple of us, and we were thinking about doing an experiment to make these static on all of them, so that you weren't fine-tuning everything and physically fine-tuning things. You could numerically fine-tune them if we put a cam on the gear instead of just an arm. So the arm reaches over and sort of pushes that down, and gets caught in that groove. When it pulls back, it travels up and down here. So the magnets push this up. So what we were thinking is we could use ones across the whole thing and put a cam on the servo, and then we just have an array of numbers of servo angles for each one. But we never really got around to experimenting with that because, well, it doesn't work. So that's sort of the way this connects. I'm starting to think there might be a problem with block 7, the actual block itself, because this thing does get stuck. But I don't understand why that would apply to block 8. But whatever the case may be, we change the size of the array in the file, and we change the size of everything else. It'll all just fall into place. So we're gonna do a select to tool 0. Yeah, we don't know how well the cam will work though. That's one thing. The experiment hasn't been done. Tool 0 enabled. Oh, put all the filaments in the filament blocks. Okay. So, we have to load filament. Let's get this off 0. It's fine. Now the good thing about all this, or most of this, is all of these have proper pointed ends. Like your end of your filament, you want it to look like a point. And when it comes out of the ERCF, you want it to always be that point. Okay, so there's 1, 2, and 3. Here's 4. Yeah, some of them I might have to pull up. Okay. There's 4. Five. Not going to use that. Yeah, maybe we will. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. I was going to say it's kind of hard to pull through there, but once it's up higher like this, it's not so hard. And then this will be the last one. We don't need to plug in the last 2. Okay, so there we go. We've got filament in all of the blocks, except for blocks 7 and 8. Okay, so let's get back to, where are we here? ERCF load. Extrude below minimum temperature. What? Okay. Buffer's fully loaded. Spools are ready to pull from, or easy to pull from. And filament tips are in the parking position. They are. Okay, extrude below Okay, homing ended. Let's read through this again, because I don't see anywhere where it tells me to turn on the hot end. Okay, let's home this thing. And we'll heat up the extruder to 180. You know, it really disturbs me, the amount of air coming out from that fan. Oh well. Okay, so what do we got here? Okay, so what this is going to do is basically take us to tool 0. It's gone to the select distance for tool 0. Just a reminder, if anybody's forgotten, the like button is down below the video, generally on your right. So just reach down there with your mouse and click that like button. Don't forget. Thanks. Sorry. That didn't work, did it? Oh well. I tried. So now we got to do the load. Let's just wait until our everything's heated up here. That's heated up. Okay, so now let's do the load. And this time we probably won't get a awesome. Error loading filament. No filament detected during load sequence. Retry. Pause. Made angry move to left. Yay! Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to go an ERCF unlock. So what happened there? What happened there was it rolled the filament back so far that it couldn't roll it forward. Also, the okay, so the select puts the servo up. ERCH. That's going to help. Servo down. Servo up. Okay, that's what we want. Right? Yeah, servo's up. Okay, so now I should be able to push this through. Well, the strange thing is it's not getting through. So we're going to have to go all the way back to the first step here and rerun the calibration on tool 1. Because it would seem that it's not lined up anymore. Come on, stop that. I don't want the colon. Okay, there we go. So tool 0. I actually have the filament that's going into it now. Okay, so there's tool 0. Whoops, that's dumb. I'm an idiot. Okay, let's see what it has to say about that. Tool 0 is at 2.0. Where's my numbers? Okay, that's 23.0. So that shut the motors off again, and the heater, sorry, not the motors, well, it did. So we're gonna have to do another home, bring this up to 180 again. We'll do an ERCF home. And now we got to go back down. Wow, I'm all over the place here. Okay. Here we go. Let's get that in there. Tool 0. Select it. Let's do a quick check up here. Way up here. Okay, so that servo's down. Okay. I see the problem here I'm having here is I don't want to push this in too far, but I don't want to push it in not far enough. I don't know. Does that make any sense? Does that sound like a problem at all? The problem I'm having is I'm not bright enough. No. Okay, so here we go again. Hit that. We've got our filament gripped. We're gonna ERCF load, and the first thing it does is roll the motor backwards. Why do you do that? Why? Literally, the first thing it does when I do that is it winds it backwards. That's nuts. Yeah, it rolled the filament out of where the carriage, where it's supposed to be. Now, where did it go? I know it's in there. Motor's off. There it is. Okay, so the motors are off. I move it out of the way, right? I'm going to push this in as far as it will go. That means that it's pushing against the washer at the end that's blocking entry. It's pushed in, it's properly loaded. Everything is awesome. How can this go wrong? We're just going to do a simple ERCF home, which again, it's deleted off the back, what I'm going to call DOS key. But we'll just scroll down the list and find it anywhere where we punched it in anyway. No, it's decided that never happened ever. Okay, we're gonna go get and do a manual. Oh no, I did it from the thing. ERCF home. No, this is exactly what happened last time. Just problem after problem, stupid thing after stupid thing. It took me a week to get it running. So this is exactly what happened the first time when I did this config. It's on the first one. We did the home. So now I'm going to load the tool. 0. And that has now gripped the filament. And then ERCF load. And the first thing it does is roll the damn thing backwards again. And again. Yeah, but yeah, there is. But it's a completely different thing. That basically burns a proper tip on it and pulls it out through the whole thing based on other stuff. So this is what I'm going to do, because this thing is just being a real pain in the butt, and it's basically. This is what it does. This is the way this thing works. This is the way it rolls. Here we go. We got filament in it now. We're gonna do an ERCF test move gear. Actually, what I'm gonna do is a load first. Oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna go servo down. Okay, the servo is down. This is gripped. Okay, good. We're ready. We're ready for ERCF test move gear. Okay, and it completely rewound it. Well, this is completely insane, but I'm going to go into a configuration that was working on a printer. Oh, what happened? Okay, sorry, I thought I lost my stream there for a second. Yeah, so that doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all, but I'm going to go in, and we're going to go into our user config. Is it your user config? I don't think it is. It is ERCF hardware. Okay, so that's the selector. This is the gear, and we're gonna take it off. But like, I'm literally saying this is completely nuts what we're doing here, because like, you know, this thing didn't come from nowhere. It's real. I'm touching it right now. It's like a solid object. And that thing printed it. So yeah, I'm kind of baffled. I don't understand why this is different. But I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to push through this. Okay, and we're gonna do it again. We're gonna go, as soon as we're up to temperature here, home. Okay, it's homed. We're going to select tool 0. We're going to call load. And there is a little itty bitty tiny piece sticking out right there. Okay. Here we go. So I want to roll this forward. And that's our reference point. Right there. I should have shut the motors off, but whatever, we're there. Okay, so now, so if you're doing this at home, shut the motors off. Now we're gonna call ERCF test move gear. And this is gonna roll 200 millimeters out. And I'm gonna measure that with something that's capable of measuring 200 millimeters. Really? These things have been closed all the time? So I'm going to take this. And that is 205 millimeters. So what we need to do is we need to go into the, I guess I don't really need to be here. We need to go into the printer config, or the, which config? The hardware config. And the rotation distance is 40. You know what I'm gonna do? I don't like this. I don't like what's happening right now. Okay, it's unloaded. And then some. I am going to pull all this out. And I'm going to push it back in until I don't feel any teeth marks on it. Right here, right here. Which kind of sucks because it had a proper tip on it and now it's flat, but oh well. We'll see how we do. ERCF home. What are you doing? What are you doing? Good now? Now we need to ERCF load. Okay, there we go. And ERCF test move gear. Okay, it's 205. So we're gonna go and do some math. Old rotation distance was 40. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, no, it's not. Oh, it is. It's 40. Is that right? Stepper gear? No, it's this. Times 205. That's not how you do it. Times 205 divided by 200. And this is our new rotation distance. Yay, new rotation distance. Good times. Me and old rotation distance, we had great times together. But I'm sure me and new rotation distance, we'll have a lot of fun together too. Okay, so that's all good. So what I'm going to do, because our motor should be shut off. No, actually they're not. Actually our motors are. So I'm just going to wind this back that 200 millimeters. And I'm going to run the same command. Well, 20 centimeters. 199 to 201 millimeters, somewhere around there. So that's good. So it's basically, you can use that again to retest. That's fine. I'm okay. We retested. Okay, so now we need to calibrate the encoder. It's assumed that you still have tool 0 loaded. Okay. It's just rolling it in and out and in and out. It's like 732, 732, 732, 731, 732, 731, 731, 730, 731. Our resolution, our resulting resolution for the encoder is 1.432 blah, 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 blah. Okay, there's other stuff going on here. If the standard deviation, well, no, the standard deviation was pretty awesome, wasn't it? The standard deviation is 0.71. What? This is wrong. The standard deviation is 148.7. What? Load direction. Yeah, that failed. Whatever that was, that failed miserably. Okay, so there we go. We've got filament out here. Calibrate encoder. What is that? What is that? What is that? That's it messing it up. That's what it's doing. Okay, so the Hall effect sensor is a long story. Like a real long story. It's a design flaw. That's all I can say. Every single version of the sensor that I printed from somebody else didn't work. So what I did, well, I went to try to change it and basically sync the magnet so it was closer, but I couldn't. All the models were non-manifold, so they had holes in them basically, and anytime I tried to do anything, just big huge chunks would disappear, and I'm like, okay, well, screw it. So I started off with a blank one that was just basically exactly what I needed. I already had templates to cut out all this stuff. The only template I had to make to cut out was the thing for the thing at the top. So I basically made a brand new one from scratch. What turned out to be the problem was the magnets aren't close enough. When I moved them closer, everything started working. So again, I've got a standard deviation of 159.6. It didn't do it this time. It didn't do it this time. No. Yeah. See what that is something wrong with this whole thing. When it does that, it ruins a print. So what's happening now is everything is dead on. 731, 731, 731, 731, 731. I really hope it's asking for 731. I actually think it's asking for 730. But it's measuring 731 every single time. So the standard deviation is now 0. Yay! And the What am I looking for? The resulting encoder resolution is 1.367989. So we're going to take this number and we're going to copy it. Where am I going to copy it? Encoder resolution. PTFE configuration. So this encoder's nailed it. It's dead on. You cannot get better than a standard deviation of 0. That means on average, there is no deviation. That means every single time we move this thing, it's going to result in the exact same thing. Okay, so in the encoder resolution in the software config, it's not in printer. It's in software. No, it's not. It's in hardware. No, it's not. It's in user. Sorry, don't take the file names for what they are because I changed all mine. So encoder resolution is at the top of the ERCF config, and that's it. So yeah, nailed it. So yeah, I'm gonna release the STLs for the fixed ERCF sensor or body. It's for beta 11. I think it might work on the other one as well. Oh yeah, yeah. This is the hardest build. Definitely. If you're looking for a challenge, if you're looking for an extreme challenge, build a 12. If you're looking for a high challenge, 9. If you're looking for a challenge, just a normal challenge, 6. You know, anywhere below 4, 3, they're pretty easy at that point. And I think the reason for that is basically you have the possibility of flex in this whole configuration, and the longer it gets, the more flex you are going to get. So this whole, the hat configuration, everything, that took me days to get to where this was like 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 4. Yeah, that was days of configuration. I was infuriated at the thing. Okay, now basically we're supposed to install this on our printer. And there's the mounts. And then we're going to run ERCF calibrate. So I need to ERCF unload. Oops. Spell. And that should roll that out. And I don't know where it's rolling it to. The next county? We don't even have counties here. Other than Canada, we have provinces. The next rural municipality? I don't know. It's still rolling it out. So now we're going to plug in the actual thing. I'm also going to push this back in a bit. And that should be loaded up and ready to go. And I have 1 through 6 all set. This is where the nightmare can begin. Must home access first. Home. I did not think it would do anything. I was being a dumbass. But yeah, homed. And now we want to run ERCF home, just so we know where everything is. Okay, so whatever, we're homed. And now I'm gonna run ERCF calibrate. And we're heated up to 180. And this is the final step. What this is going to do is it's going to roll, it's going to move the exact same amount of filament for each tool forward through here. It's going to use that to measure, including hitting the extruder, the filament detector. It's going to basically measure that distance on the first one, using the first one as the key. So that will be 1. So T0 uses 1 times the distance to the tool head to roll out the filament. Then it'll move to T2 and it'll measure how much T2 pushes to do the exact same thing. And then it's going to create a ratio. So 1.0114831 will be how much more it needs to, and then it's basically going to go through each one. I will say that this went insanely well for Steve. When Steve did this, I was like, what? Don't build this if you're quick to throw things. You might want to stay away from Vorons altogether. I don't know. But yeah, this is awesome. Let's run it and see what it does. So it moves to 1. And it's the first thing I did was roll the filament back so it couldn't get to it. So yeah, it's already screwed up. Sorry, it's already screwed up. So the first thing it did was roll the filament out so that there was no way that it could load filament. And now it's sitting here in a crazy mode where it's just stepping the motor forward and 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 forward forever. Yeah. So now my only option at this point, with a hot end all heated up and everything, only option, you know that thing you're not supposed to do, or it'll destroy your SD card in the Pi? That, to shut it off, that's the only option. And now you gotta wait. It's the only option. You can't do it any other way. Sorry, have I mentioned there's the only way to do it is to shut the power off? Have I made it known how I feel about that? I don't think I'm being clear here. Silence? So yeah, that is just bad. And it's going to do it over and over. Well, that didn't work out too well. I guess that would make me a complete idiot. I'm a complete idiot. Okay, so home. It's not going to work. we want to do an ERCF home. Okay, ERCF homed. ERCF calibrate. It won't. You can't calibrate, you dummy. Gotta have a hot end heated up. Okay, so we're almost there. We're waiting for the hot end to warm up. Okay, so while we're waiting, everybody go down there and check that like button. Make sure everybody knows that everybody likes this. Can't forget to do that. This is going to hopefully just run through smoothly without any flaws this time. First time. As soon as that hot end's ready, we're ready to go, right? We're not going to have any more problems. We're at 176. We're at 180. Okay, so here we go. Let's watch what this thing does. So nothing's loaded up right now. It's homed. Nothing's selected. Everything's all set up. I have the filament all loaded up for each tool head and pushed in. Now, what's this going to do? It's put the thing down. It's rolled the filament out so it can never reach it. It's homed, and now it's trying to roll the filament in that it rolled out so that it could never reach it. Like I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. That's completely ridiculous. The first thing it does is slap the frickin' thing down, roll the filament completely out of the machine. Completely out of the frickin' machine. That's what it does. That's the first step of calibrate, is the make your life bloody miserable step. Sorry. This is truly infuriating. And now, my only way out of this, shut the damn machine off. Like, how bad can this be? This is literally a nightmare. A software nightmare. Sorry, and it's very frustrating because what do you do about it? When basically it's random. It's random is the bottom line. Is what we've got here is a system that is random. It will work randomly. Occasionally I'm going to run this and it's going to get past that. Or I should say, not occasionally, eventually, we're going to run this, and that won't happen, and everything will work. But we're stuck with that eventually, and that eventually sucks. I don't want to be running my entire thing by an eventually. You'll get it right. So, home. So here we go. We've homed the printer. We've got it back up to temperature once again. So eventually temp number 3, ERCF calibrate. You'll notice I've done something different already, or maybe you won't. I've moved this over here to a random place that is not on a filament thing, so that if it jams this thing down and decides to unroll whatever it's looking at, it's going to unroll something that doesn't exist. Right? That's the only way I can think of making this work. ERCF calibrate. It's calling it, oh, see, it's calling home. It did it. It did the rollback. It put the thing down. It tried to roll back filament out of 7. That's exactly what's wrong here. That's exactly what's going on. Oh. Yeah, it screwed it up. It's doing it again. Bloody hell. What a piece of crap. Now this is not a hardware issue. This is not hardware. The hardware is 100% physically sound. This is a pure 100% software issue. Basically what's happening here is, for some reason in long moves on this device, that's not going to work. It's doing that. So basically what happened there is it went to roll everything out. It went, you know, so far, it stopped, and then it went, and then it started again. So what happened there was it got, yes, my RS-25 is connected to my LRS 250. They're grounded together, and not just through the Pi in real life. So yeah. So there's a definite bug somewhere. I don't think it's hardware. I don't think it's hardware at all. You know, like I said, I did that whole print. So here we go again. Reheat everything up one more time. Oh, servo up. Yeah, we don't need that. We need ERCF. Calibrate. The black is reloaded the way it should be, or color T0. And as soon as this thing is hot, there's no strain on the motor at all. The belt's nice. Like, everything's nice. The alignment between the two is perfect. I heard a lot of people complaining about that, but I checked it and it was awesome. You could build a piece of plastic to sit like almost touching this belt edge and the wheel, and it would never ever touch it. Okay, we're up to temperature. No, it's that whole thing on the long move thing. It was the same with measuring the 200 or the 731. It would go like halfway and then just stop and go, and I don't know if it's a bad ERCF board. Maybe it is physical hardware. But the whole thing with the motor, you know, like doing that whole stutter thing, that's a bug. So, call calibrate again. On to tool 0. And it's already failed. How did you already fail? How did you already fail? You piece of crap, how did you already fail? It didn't. Huh? It did it again. That shouldn't happen. So now it doesn't know where it is. And it's going by millimeter by millimeter by millimeter by millimeter, which is completely useless because it doesn't know where it is. And if you don't know where you are, you know, it's already said. I rolled it, like it says it on the screen here, measured, requested 470, measured this much. Well, you've already shown me that when I request 731, I get 731 every single time, over and over and over and over and over again, with a standard deviation of 0. Literally, there is no difference. When you requested 731, you got it every single time, like magic. But now that you've requested 470, we're going to only roll 437.8. And the motor's just going to stop at the end and go, Gee! Like, what is that? I don't know. So that's it. It's found where it's supposed to be, and now it's supposed to move on to 2 and do the same thing. But it didn't. It didn't move at all. It decided, I'm going to stay until 1 and do this over and over and over and over and over again. I failed my initial mission, but I don't care. I got all the time in the world. So I'm going to roll the filament from tool 1 down over and over and over and over and over again. That's what it's doing. Like, what a piece of crap. And notice there's no E anymore. That's just not happening anymore. That only ever happens on the initial calibration move down to the motor. It only ever happens when it tries to move the stepper in the extruder and the stepper here at the same time. That's the only time that ever happens. Sorry. And, you know, now it's calibrating tool 6. As you can see by the thing, it's going through every tool perfectly. It's working awesome. Please reload the firmware for the calibration to take effect. It's done. It's not. It's lying. It's just... It hasn't even removed the frickin' servo. God. Wow. Like, that's like the ultimate piece of crap. ARCF calibrate. So I have literally run this hundreds of times. Oh, did I mention that somehow it failed? Oh, there we go. Now it guaranteed it would fail. Because the first thing it did, because it's an absolute piece of shit, is it rolled the filament that it was working on out of the machine completely. Like, literally, rolled it out. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Asked for 470, got 469. See? Random. The damn thing is random whether or not it works. And it's not gonna do any of this stuff once we're past this point. And I think that's my big point with this. This shouldn't do this. This shouldn't be a thing that it only fails on running this first piece. And if it does fail, it stops moving. It stops doing anything. It basically says, oh, I've failed. Next, 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 and runs the process for all of them and doesn't bother to check whether or not it's failed or not. So you end up with this thing failing and then just rolling filament in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out on the same thing. Of course, every time it says, oh, go load tool 2, it goes, no, I can't load tool 2. I've failed. Oh, okay. Roll the filament out. Pull the filament back in. Okay, go to tool 3. Well, I can't go to tool 3. I've failed. Okay, roll the filament in. Roll the filament out. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Okay, it's going to work this time. It will move to tool 2 now, and it will attempt to do that. And it's going to work. But like that's ridiculous. The beginning stuff happens. Yeah, calibrating tool 2. It's moved on to it's on to tool 2 now. Measured 370, got 370. Or requested 367, got 366.6. So basically, it's creating these ratios. This isn't going to be the best calibration, of course, because I run this filament through here before. But as you can see, it's actually moving through everything the way it should be. And now it's done the motor thing again. Oh my God! And again. And again. Just, And now it's trying to roll the filament up, but the servo's down. So it's never going to be able to roll the filament out, ever. It stopped finally, and now it's trying to roll it forward again. But the servo's down. Now the servo's up, now it's going to try to push it down again. Oh my God. But of course, you know, like, the problem here is it's on tool 5 now. It basically knows it failed on tool 4, but it says, oh well, I'm going to pretend I'm on tool 5 and roll the filament in, roll the filament out. And then goes, oh well, I'm going to pretend I'm on tool 6 and roll the filament in, roll the filament out. It's definitely time for a coffee break. I think there's a nice brick wall outside. I might, just for some pleasurable experience, smash my head against for a bit. But yeah, this is the most ridiculous part of this thing. Is yeah, like this is where we are right now. And it says print already paused. So when we look at this, what do we see? What do we see? We see it, okay, tool 4, ratio is 1.9, variable saved. Unload, correction move done. It had to move it by 0.7 millimeters. That's too much slippage. So it asked for this, it got 0.7. So it called pause. Every time it tried to move the tool, it wouldn't because it was paused. Every time it went to move the motor, it did anyway, even though it was paused. So again, like I've been saying, it's random. It's bloody random. Whether or not you get a configuration loaded when you do this is up to chance. Once you got the configuration, it's fine. But until then, oh, damn, piece of crap. But until then, you know, it's just random happenstance. Oh man, this is just absolutely infuriating and frustrating. So I have to go into here and go ERCF unlock. But the motors are still locked. Come on, you piece of junk. Oh, whatever, I don't care. We'll just run it over and over and over until it happens. You know, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over, yet expecting different results. Let's do it. Bring the insanity. I'm gonna go do that coffee thing while this does ridiculous stuff. Yeah, it's already screwed up. Error loading ERCF, no filament detected during load sequence. Retry loading. But we already know that on a retry it doesn't work. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. Whoa. That's not right. That's not what I did. That's not at all what I did. Oh my God. I am back. Guess what? It's worse than before. MCU ERCF shutdown, timer too close. Yes, yes, yes. New error. Oh, I lost everybody. Well, not everybody. Hey, people who stayed. Thanks for staying. So yeah, there's definite things in the software that could be improved. I can show you exactly what's going on. It's just I'm not the Python guy, eh? I'm not going to be able to fix this necessarily. Okay, so we're going to go in, we're going to take a quick look at what we're actually doing. And if we go into software, going to suffer along. Well, what was that? There we go. That's not right. Software. This is not software. So we want ERCF calibrate. So this is the routine here. I made some changes. I never got them working because I didn't really understand what was going on. But basically what's going on is this. It's basically calling a macro on each tool, ERCF calibrate single tool. So it basically loops through each tool for each chan, in range, printer, macro, ERCF. So it's getting the length of the array that we set up, and for each one of them it's going in and it's calling this. Now I've added my own code here to say if it's paused, don't call it, but it still seems to call it. But that doesn't matter. Make a source, added pause check. So I've added this stuff here. If it's paused when it's done, I said calibration failed on, and I tried to have it give me the tool number back, but it didn't. So basically the only change here is me checking to see if it's failed and trying not to do the set ERCF calibrate tool. So whatever, I was just gonna skip the whole thing, like because basically what I could have done here was say, okay, whatever, one's working, 1, 2, 3 is done. I can just basically call a manual calibration on 5 and 6, and that would be it done with. But it's not going to let me do that because, of course, it did it had another error after it was done. So I'm just going to try to make sure everything's loaded up. And ready to feed. Yeah, one's good too. Okay, so that looks good. The pink doesn't look good. Okay, that looks good. Everything seems fine to me. Duff, you said something about the current. I'm gonna check. I want to see what it's at, and I'm gonna raise it. That's the the run current is at 0.4. So I'm going to change that to 0.5. It is, it's a, it is a, the motor is a NEMA 14. So the other option I have here, which I might go to if this doesn't help at all, is change it to a NEMA 17. Okay, so we're loaded back up. We're heating back up to 180. We've homed back to the console. Everything should be ready for the calibrate. I just need the hot end to be hot, otherwise it won't make it there. Calibrating tool 4 seems to be the problem. But that's green. There was no problem with green before. The one I had a problem with was white. And I think for some reason I found the white filament was brittle. And I don't know. I think that had something to do with it. I don't know why that would, I don't know. I'll have to do a few more prints to see where it all ends up. Okay, so we're gonna run calibrate. And here we go again. Off to the calibration races. Will you win your sanity back? Will your sanity survive the calibration races? So it failed. It failed. Error loading filament 2 years CF, no filament detected during load. Why? Why? How? But now it's doing it just fine. Well, here we go again. Load move done, requested 470, got 469.9. That doesn't make sense when the standard deviation is 0. So it's basically measuring the distance to the filament detector. And it's empty. Empty, 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 empty. Detected. And it's pulling it out. And we're at 595.07. Now let's move to tool 1. And that's the white, and it worked just perfect. It wanted 367, it got 366.6. It's moved to tool 3. I mean, well, the third tool, tool 2. Damn, that's confusing. Why did they do that? Like, I know as a software developer, that's how an array, the first item in an array is item 0. But, you know, you get used to thinking like that. Why did it not move? Why did you decide not to? What are we on? Oh no, okay, it moved, never mind. That didn't look good. That did not look good at all. Requested 367, got 365. Okay, well, we've made it through. We made it through. We have made it through. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end. I mean, we made it through. Please reload firmware for calibration to be active. So basically, it's saved our numbers here. If we go to machine and we look at the ERCF vars, we can see the numbers that it's basically come up with here. We can ignore this and this. Yeah, basically, we can ignore this and this as well. So all I have to do is restart. Shall we? Okay, so I'm going to preheat PLA. I guess I shouldn't have done that. Now we'll do it anyway. I have a preheat macro, and basically what it does... Where preheat macro? It's in macros. Let's look in macros. Preheat. So basically, it says heat the bed to 60. Home, absolute or relative, move 25, move absolute. If the bed temperature is less than 50, set the bed temperature to 50 and wait until it's at 50. And then when it drops out of that, it'll just wait there. And as soon as it's done that, it's going to say, okay, set the bed temperature to 60, set the hot end to 210. I don't know why there's a 290 60 at the end. It should already be there. And then basically, the difference between the 290 and the 240 is the 290 will wait. So basically, it waits until it's at 50, turns the hot end on, and goes. So in the Trident, I have a very complicated one that basically has like 8 steps, 5 steps maybe? Yeah, 5 steps. And it does the bed in 20. So it goes from, well, whatever, it doesn't do 20 on the first one, but so every time the bed goes up in temperature until it gets to 100, it ups the intensity of the red lights in the bed, and then once it hits 100, it sets the hot end to 255. This is PLA. This is not ABS. This is ABS, not PLA. And then once that hot end hits 255, it changes the lights to green, so I know exactly when it's ready to print. And I love that. I want that on all my printers. I just don't have lights on all my printers. And the lights on my other Switchwire are not colored. It's rough. I think that, one of the things I want to work on is being able to make my own PCBs, PC boards. I think that would be really useful. Oh, it's heated up. Yeah, I think being able to make my own PC boards would be awesome. So that's one thing I've got on my list of things that I've got to figure out. And I think I'd want to do it the classic way with printing printing like a stencil and UV light. That's not the classic way. I don't know, the other way. And then you, solvents to burn it off. I know it's solvents, but you know. And then I can make my own board to hook up a display. And or I can even use Timot's, like from Timot's Timmot 99's board layout. I could just make my own, and that would be awesome to be able to do that. Okay, where are we here? Where are we? What is our deal? And what are we trying to do? We want T0. That just nailed it. Boom. T0, release filament. T0, loaded. So now we want T1. So unload T0. So basically form an end on this filament. So that's what it's doing right now. It's forming an end. And now it's going to try to pull this out. It's got a pretty bad end, actually. Looks sort of like really bad. And then it should change to the white. Okay, while it's doing that, I can look at this end. What happened there? It's like a bad end on top of a good end. Maybe I should have actually printed something. You know what? The stepper's going to be fine with the more current. I checked the heat earlier. It feels fine. My thought at first was, am I going to do damage to it? But all it does is the roll forward and roll back. It's idle the rest of the time, or it's down at the idle current, so, or the hold current. So I'm thinking it's going to be fine. There doesn't seem to be any heat on the drivers either. Okay, T5. So unload the white. It created a really bad end on it. So what's wrong here is I need to extrude between these. Move to T6. And there we go. T6 is almost loaded. Loading filament. It'll say filament detected, I believe. No, it just says release filament. Okay, so there we go. That's loaded. Let's extrude. $50 at 5. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use one of my macros to change to T3. And it should form a tip. And that's what it should be doing now. It's not great, but I'm not going to call it terrible. And there it goes. Filament loaded successfully. What happened? Okay, maybe I got some bad filament, or not bad filament, some misshapen filament. So that was a yeah, bad tip, and maybe not enough on the buffer. But if that's the case, there's something wrong with the buffer, and something's gripping where it shouldn't be, or something's, yeah, crossed over. Okay, so that should be good. Let's go back to T0. I don't see any stringiness on the tip, so that's at least something. I queued up an extrude. I thought I did. Okay, something's going wrong. Okay, so what's going on here is just really crappy. Everything is jammed at the buffer. Like literally, there's no movement at all. I can feed stuff into the buffer from this end, so it can take stuff. This turns, but yet somehow the whole thing has shifted down and dropped off the side of the buffer, which should be impossible. Like that should not happen. So let's try that extrude again. And as soon as that's done, we're going to go to T2. So while the printer is printing, nothing on the ERCF is active. the servo's lifted. It's not pressing down on anything. The motor for that drives the filament forward, the filament motor, is not active. This of course can't be moved because the filament, or sorry, the shuttle can't be moved because the filament's going through it. And did that load? Filament loaded successfully. Extrude. Extruding. It's extruding. We're making a nice mess. So once you're done extruding there, buddy, what color don't we have yet? We got the yellow. I don't see any green in there. It's T4, right? So we're going to swap to T4. And then we'll go to 6 again, I guess. Because we haven't done 6, I went to 5. Okay, so that unloaded beautifully. And then it failed. Why? Why? Seriously, why? I want to know why. There's no reason for it to fail. I also think I might have my Y set for too long. I might need to reduce it by 10 millimeters. So that doesn't make any sense. And if the thing is, if I do this, if I just go eject and do it again, it'll work. Oh no, I gotta go unlock, eject. Now it'll pull it out bit by bit, slowly. You can see it. You know, look at this. It's overhead view. There we go. There's a view worthy of the CF, I don't know. Okay, so what do we do here? It's failed on that. We've reset it. It's released the filament. I'm going to hit it again. Now, generally what I've found is it's fine. And that's the only problem I've had with the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder. I don't know whether it could be my motor. Really, it could be this NEMA 14 right here. It could be the easy board. It's good? We good here? Oh, that bolt. Okay, then the bolt's now fallen inside. Oh, it's squeezing out filament into a pile. That's not good. So we'll do a 5 millimeter retraction here. So now that I've loaded T4, let's go to T6. Make sure everything there is good. It should unload T4. Like, this is all working, except for that one thing it does with that E, and it doesn't error out when it does that. I just don't know what that is. It's like the motor's synchronization goes out of sync, and it's pulling and pushing at the same time. And there we go, that's that. Filament released. Extrude. So I just hit T0. So it should do something. Yeah, it's made the tip. They're not the greatest tips right now. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I don't know why that is. And there we go. Extrude. Extruding. Okay, what's going on now? What are you going to do? Destroy it? Destroy yourself? You know, that's it. That's it. There's a problem here. There's a problem. It thinks it's doing something else, and it's not. And what it's going to end up trying to do is actually pull this thing apart. Like, and there's no way to do that, fix that, except for an emergency stop. So that's not good, but it messed up. That's not good at all. So we're going to unlock, and we're going to eject, and it'll work just fine. This is what bugs me. Or maybe it won't. No, it thinks it is ejected. It doesn't think there's any filament in there right now. So it actually didn't load. What happened, or what's happening, is we're getting bad ends. I really hope, yeah, so that loaded. So for some reason, because the thing's not perfect, you know, perfect tip, like, that's what we're looking for, is something like very pointy. And that should just slide right through the sensor, but it didn't. It's not. So what's happened, my guess is now, is something's caught in there. Or that was a bad point, bad tip. Whoops. Okay, extrude, extrude, extrude. You can't extrude? What's going on? Oh, of course you can't extrude. Now let's put the gear down, and then now let's try to extrude. And the filament comes out of the bottom. Eject. But it's not doing anything here. Filament removed. That's literally what it says. Eject. So all that's happening here when I choose eject is the motor at the bottom is forming the tip like it should. Yeah, so what we've got going on here is some filament issues in the tool head. I believe is what's going on. In this case, that tip seems fine. It's giving up though. It's like, oh, filament removed. Yeah, good. We already got that filament out for you. And we paused the thing, filament removed. And I don't understand why it does this, because if you look at what's going on, or how it works even, it knows when it's rolling it back. It knows when it's rolling this filament back, bit by bit by bit, that filament is there because it knows it's moving here. It also knows how long this is, so why does it only give up out here? It's going to finish it now and it'll be fine. And yeah, it's perfectly loaded, ready to go. So I don't understand that. That throws me a bit. And I really need to take time now that this is installed to learn this software better. But the problem I have with that is it's hard to learn the software on a working machine. What I'd really like to do is basically have a machine on the side with like a smaller ERCF on it that I could experiment with the software and mess with it and, you know, do my own thing and that type of stuff. But based on this, you know, I think we're 98% there. I do think, though, that the other 2% is painful. Like, why is that a thing? See, this is yeah, that is a thing. So it can't load the filament. Why? because it doesn't know where it is anymore. Somehow it's lost track. So if I go home again, and then I load T2 once more, it will load it just fine. So yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. But I'm glad we got this far. I really am. This is next to working, next to printing. So the next ERCF stream, well, it's paused again because, of course it is. An issue has been detected, and my guess is the issue is it can't load the filament. Yeah, that's the issue. It gets to about the top of the hot end, and that's it. That's as far as it'll go. It will not go any further. And that's because some piece of filament broke off in the tool head somewhere. You know what? You know what? Yeah. You know what? That's long enough. That's long enough for today. There's a piece of filament stuck in the tool head. That's problem number one. The other problem is basically, I think with the distances, I need the tool head. Well, no, I don't want it to cool down before I do this. Okay, so the distances between the filament sensor and the tool head, I'll need to remeasure those. They may be off by a millimeter or two. So when it's going to do what do they call that? The tip forming. To get this to be a nice to be removed and nice to go back in, so that it runs through here smoothly. That portion of the print is failing really at this point because I don't think the measurements are right. So right now, yeah, there's obviously something stuck. Something has happened to stop it from going in there. I'll make that correction. The other thing I got to do is I've got to find some more 4x3 Bowden tube. I had to bucket load of it disappear at customs. So I don't know why they stole my Bowden tube, but they took it and eventually I got a refund for it. But whatever. I guess it's not mine anymore, it's theirs. So I think I'm gonna leave this here and we're gonna just save that troubleshooting, that last bit of troubleshooting for either the beginning of the next stream, or I'll figure out the process. We'll make the changes to the measurements because it's all in the config file. And then we'll be ready to print. And the next one will be a print. Now, I'm going to warn everybody right now that if the next one is a print, we're not going to get to see the whole print. It's prints on this thing are slow. Like as you can imagine, if you were to print this in one solid thing, you know, the first layer would be done in a minute. And the whole thing would be done in you know, 2 hours or an hour and a half or something like that. As soon as you go into multi-colored prints, you add a long step between every color of retracting all the previous color, loading up the new color, and you've seen how long it takes. That doesn't get faster. That's not going to go wee, wee, wee. No, it's just going to take its sweet ass time, and it's going to be a long process to get something like that printed. This took 7 hours. So that was 5 hours of filament changing and 2 hours of printing. Filament changing and purging, because that's the other thing. And I should also mention that the other thing about this was that the filament used, the filament consumption was skewed heavily towards the purge tower. Now you will notice the lines on this thing are pretty solid. There's no red, the yellow, there's no, everything turned out beautiful, other than, you can see the layer lines. So there's no problem with the print here. The print's great, actually. I had to squish a lot. There's some issues with the chin, which we'll fix when we reprint it again. This will be the first print again. The reason this was printed on the other one, was so bad on the other one, was because it was using just Afterburner. And Afterburner's cooling for PLA, I don't know. We'll see if this is better. I don't know. The purge, so this I'm pretty sure this was like 29 grams or something like that of filament. I didn't measure it. And then the filament block was like 40 some. The purge block was like not quite double. So yeah, overall this took more than twice as much filament to print than it normally would, because of the purge block that was, not quite double its size. It almost took 3 times as much. So yeah. A couple blobbing issues, but just in that one place. Oh well. I'm happy with it. I can't wait to put this through its paces. Next time we'll print a different set of colors, exercise some other filament things. Maybe I'll go with black, purple, and red eyes or something like that. I don't have any purple loaded, but I do have purple on the beast up there. And this is the thing. This is the beast. That's the filament rack, eh? It holds 12 rolls of filament. So when it's loaded up, there's 22 kilograms. Loaded up with new rolls, there's 22 There's 22 pounds of filament on there, plus the whole structure and all their things. The reason I put 12 in there instead of just putting the 9 is because I thought, hey, it'll be easier to just swap one of these lines up here and leave the other ones free, the ones you're not using free, and do things that way. And I'm gonna keep doing that. So yeah, we'll pick this up with a print soon, and then we'll start getting a little more complicated. I have a few of those articulating dragons, and I want to try split one up into different colors and see how that goes. That can be a long print. So now that I've said it 4 times, I'm going to leave this here, and we'll pick this up soon. Probably during the week. I'm not going to be able to hold off now that I've got this far. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget, if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be back soon, a couple days. And you know, I'm gonna I'm about to leave, and I'm gonna say something else. I'm going on vacation in 3 weeks. So after that vacation, I'm gonna start with a schedule, so that things will be a little more solid then. So I will see you soon. Have a good one, and yeah.